Today is April 11th, 2026. First thing on the plate today, Jack's ramblings of the day. Let's get into it. People are burning down warehouses. I want to dive into that. I don't think it's tough to say, we shouldn't have gotten to this point. Like, the fact that people are burning down warehouses is crazy. But it's under the principle that we're not being paid enough. The wage needed to essentially live or survive in a partially comfortable state would be $30 an hour. The minimum wage still $7.25 here in Texas. So you tell me, you'd have to work almost 4 hours to reach that. So, if you were earning minimum wage, you're gonna have to work quadruple hours to essentially live comfortably. What's 40 times 4? It's 160 hours you'd have to work to then a week. Think about that. How many hours are even in a week? 24 hours times 7. 20 times 7 is going to be 120. 4 times 7 is going to be 28. So 148. You'd have 8 hours of free time. That's one night of sleep you would have to work to essentially be comfortable. What? You're kidding. You're kidding. That is oppression. That is essentially slavery. And then you have CEOs and executives earning $20 million salaries. And that's on the low end of some of these earnings. So you tell me if burning some warehouses down, burning down inventory isn't at least a message, Something needs to be done. And obviously, people go into political hearings and whatnot and speak their mind about these things, and nothing gets done. Why? Let me remind you that our taxpayer dollars are supposed to go to the salaries of politicians, but when we're outbid by corporate, these dudes that are earning $29 million salaries in a year, granted, they're earning, many of them are earning more than that. The ones that are doing lobbying are earning way more than that. And so when we, the people, are outbid for laws to be made by corporations, how can you expect them to listen to us and not the corporations? The fact of the matter is, this has been going on for so long. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Something needs to happen, and obviously peace and, making a good case for this change to happen doesn't work, because if it worked, we wouldn't be in this situation. And 30, 40 years ago, we wouldn't have seen the rise of this situation because people noticed it then. It's just we, the people, have been trying to do this peacefully for a long time. And the lies keep adding up and stacking up, and we have it's just evident. It's evident at this point that, something needs to be done. So let's do something, right? Let's do something. Each and every day, it seems more evident that something needs to be done. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I could. There's a huge amount of strategy that would go into it. I think that is a cool example, wear masks, because surveillance is crazy. If you were ever thinking about doing something like that, wear a mask, because unless you want to be known, that it was you, but data centers are going up like crazy and they won't listen to us there. Data centers gulp up water. They cause our energy bills to go up. We pay for the energy of the data center for some reason because they're on our grids. That makes no sense. Why would we pay for it when the data center is going to earn more than the collective citizens' earnings? It's illogical. It's illogical. It's exploitation. So what can be done? What can be done? Grow your own food and get off the agricultural system within the United States. That is my project for today. I drew up this blueprint. I'll show you it here. Bang, blueprint. That's my backyard. I don't have a lot of space. So maximize it with raised beds. Do your research on what can grow in the shade because that's why that's really where I don't have the space. I have ample space to grow food for I guess my family, but take into account half the year you can't really grow food because it's winter and it's freezing. So then how do you stockpile food? Learn how to ferment. Um, Learn how to store these old tactics. Why? Because we cannot rely on the system anymore because it exploits us and it's going to continue to exploit us if we stay on it. That's the fact. So that's just where it is. We need to do something. We need to do something as a collective group. Stop fighting your neighbors over left and right issues, Democrat, Republican. Granted, that's the hardest part. I would like to speak that my brother is a devout right winger, like a MAGA conservative. I have no problem with the right. I don't. I'm not. I would say I'm moderate because both sides are extremists. That's the fact of the matter. Both sides have good viewpoints. Bang, bang, right? Good viewpoints. Except they're so far apart now. And why are they far apart? Because political extremism gets more views than moderate viewpoints. Why when you meet in the middle, it's boring. But when you go as far as you can, it gets people going. The other side hates it, and the side that supports it really supports it. So that's why. Because we live in a media consuming society. So politics has become media for people to consume. It's not about ruling anymore. It's about what narrative can we push. Use your own brain to realize that doesn't matter who you vote in, they're not going to do what you ask them to. We've seen it for so long. Every single politician is bought out by a corporation. I'm not even going to say they're bought out by a specific country. They're bought out by a corporation. Now, those corporations tend to ally with one specific country and group. That's going to go unnamed. And I think that is an issue. I think it's more along the lines of when you separate this one country, they're full of powerful people that have been genocided and feel that they have been excommunicated from a global community so that they need to formulate their own global community to essentially protect themselves. That's kind of the way I see it. Granted, birds of a feather flock together. That's nothing new. We need to be better than that. But, I don't even know how at this point. I do, but it would be so hard because they've divided us. as people, and we will remain divided unless we all come to this conclusion. May God bless. Praise Yahweh. Much love to everybody. Stay safe. And adios. Until next time.